Obviously, there have been so many questions, some criticism, a lot of criticism, a little bit of support for Kanye and his 2020 presidential bid, but we're learning some new information about his decision to run, his platform, everything about his campaign, thanks to a new interview with Forbes. It's his first interview since he announced his plans to run for president. Now, in the interview, which took place over 4 hours of phone interviews on Tuesday, Kanye talked about his plans for his campaign and a whole lot more. Here are the 5 biggest revelations. Melicia, let's start with the fact that Kanye says during this interview, he's hanging up his red hat and he does not support President Trump anymore. This comes, of course, after his very public support for the president. And in the interview, he says that he criticized the president, saying, "It looks like one big mess to me. I don't like that I caught wind that he hid in the bunker." That's, of course, in reference to reports that Trump hid in a safe room during the protests in D.C.
Right. He also mentioned that when it comes to his previous support for Trump, that he says, quote, "Trump is the closest president we've had in years to allowing God to still be part of the conversation." So I'm not sure what God exactly he's referring to, but that's exactly what he said. He also claimed that he got COVID-19. That's the second revelation from this interview. He says that he was feeling sick in February, saying, quote, "He had the chills, he was shaking in bed, taking hot showers, looking at videos, telling me what I'm supposed to do to get over it. I remember someone had told me Drake had the coronavirus, and my response was, Drake can't be sicker than me."
Even in the middle of a pandemic and where he claims that he actually caught COVID-19, he's still dissing Drake. Like, he's got
Right.
a
And
one up.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but he's still rapping bars throughout the interview as well. The person who interviewed him made sure to acknowledge that Kanye would break out in a rap or two in
Right.
between the interview.
Because that's Kanye West. Nothing surprises me anymore, including still trying to one up someone like Drake, even when it comes to who's the sickest. I mean, but it is kind of shocking to hear that he tested positive for that. But I think it's even more shocking that Kanye, who is, presumably running for president of the United States, who has thrown his support for President Trump in the past, revealed that he has actually never voted. In fact, Mel, he not only has he never voted, he registered to vote for the first time this past Monday, this week. This is
Monday.
according to the reporter, the Forbes reporter. I mean, that had me shook.
It had me shook, and the reason behind it had me even more shooketh, if that's how I would say it. But he said that Democrats have threatened him. He said the reason why this is the first day he registered to vote is because he was scared. He was told that if he voted on Trump, his career would be over. He said that he was threatened to be in one party, which I find interesting because I mean Kanye's 43 years old. So you register to vote, what, at 18? So he's had
Or you
20,
can, yeah.
25 years to vote, but that was his reason. That was his reason behind why he just now is registering.
And I will say, on top of that, too, it's like this is from the same person who claimed that George Bush didn't care about black people, the same person who
Hmm.
criticized Obama, the same person who boasted having a place in the room at the White House, with President Trump, and yet he's never voted. He's never exercised his right. He often uses his platform to speak out on a lot of different issues, but like we all know that the way to actually change that is to elect the right officials into office. So the fact that he didn't
Right.
vote it, I mean, it's a big eye roll.
It is. It is. And speaking of platform, you just mentioned, we know
Hmm.
that every presidential candidate has a platform, right? They have their views on certain issues. Let's talk about Kanye's views here for a
Yeah.
minute. We know that he is anti abortion from this interview, and we know that he is anti vaccinations as well. He says that his platform is going to be modeled after Wakanda. He says, quote, "Just the amount of innovation that can happen, the amount of innovation in medicine like big pharma, we are going to work innovate together." So those are his thoughts. He also is against the death penalty. He says, "Thou shall not kill," in point blank period. He's not here for the death penalty.
So that might not come as too much of a surprise, excuse me,
Hmm.
for Kanye, in the sense that I think a lot of people in the last couple of years realize he probably skews more on the conservative side, especially with these specific issues. But what he expressed, but when he was talking about the fact that he's anti-vax, he was basically criticizing this potential of a vaccine for the coronavirus. He says it's so
Hmm.
many of our children that are being vaccinated and paralyzed. So when they say the way we're going to fix COVID is with a vaccine, I'm extremely cautious. That's the mark of the beast.
Yeah.
You know, say what you will on that front, but one thing that really surprised me is the fact that not that he's pro-life, but he went as far as to say that Planned Parenthoods would have been placed inside cities by white supremacists
Hmm.
to do the devil's work. I mean, damn.
Mm. I know. I know. I mean, a lot of what he did mention in the interview, they're theories that a lot of people believe in, a lot of people have
Mhm.
subscribed to, and some of them make sense. I'm not saying what he just said makes sense, but he even talked about how he wants to change up schools when he gets into, well, I'm not even going to say when he gets into office, but if he was potentially, to
Yeah.
become president,
If
he
he
will
was
want to
elected,
change
yeah.
schools, right? If he was elected, he said the schools, the infrastructure was made for us to not truly be all we can be, but to be just good enough to work for the corporations that design the school systems. So he had some interesting points in there where it
Yeah.
definitely made sense, but yeah, it's
I
Kanye,
mean, the
so.
fact that he does take a stance on these issues, I'm like, great. He actually maybe has really given this some thought and
Mhm.
decided what his platform was going to be for his campaign. As far as other details about his campaign, apparently he also has chosen a running mate. Michelle Tidball, he says, is who he would want to run for VP with him. He describes her as a biblical life coach, and she lives in the town of Cody, Wyoming, which we all know is where Kanye has spent most of his time lately. But get this, Mel. He also says his campaign slogan is simply in all caps and with an exclamation point. Yes.
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 Kanye West, yes. That's what he
2020.
wants to do. What really got me was the fact that he's identifying himself under birthday party, right? He said he would run as a Republican if Trump wasn't there, but since Trump is there, he will run as an independent. And he's calling his party birthday party. You might wonder why. He says, well, because when we win, it's everybody's birthday.
See, I know
Yeah.
when you hear stuff like that, it's kind of hard to take him seriously. But I will say a source close to Kanye has said to ET that he is 100% running for president. The source went on to say that, this is not a publicity stunt. He has every intention of running and explained that, when Kanye gets an idea, he holds on to it. He obsesses
Hmm.
over it. And he says he wants to self-educate and he won't stop until he has achieved that goal. Kanye is very unconventional, and that has been his approach to most things, and everything he does is self-taught. But my thing is, with just 4 months or a couple months until the November election, and also the fact that he has missed deadlines to appear on the ballot in 9 states, including Illinois, Texas, and New York, which are key states, I just feel like, why couldn't you wait until like 2024? You know what I mean? Because right now, I don't
Well,
think we need this distraction.
right, he said that's very true. I don't think we need this distraction as well, but he did say if it's not now, if it's God's plan, it'll be in
Mm.
2024. But I just want to say this. I mean, I'm all for dreaming big and also understanding that everybody is not always going to get your vision and get what you're doing. But I'm also all about, working in your gift. Like Kanye has changed the world. He has the power to change the world even more by working in areas that he's gifted in, right? And I just don't think that Kanye has shown us over these years that he is gifted in political leadership.
Mm.
Basically, one example when he said slavery was a choice. In order to be a
Exactly.
leader in America, you have to know your history. And as we're all learning, that is definitely not the truth. And we're all learning our history at this moment. So I just feel like he's done things on multiple occasions that I can see why people are nervous. Even the fact that this is the same man that basically ruined Taylor Swift's moment at the VMAs because
Mm.
he was upset because he thought Beyonce should have won.
Right.
So there's a
So
there's a lot to just to digest here. I can see why a lot of people are upset at this moment.
And you know what? That's exactly the point I was trying to make too. It's like if this is a person who's taking this seriously and wants to educate himself on the issues and
Mhm.
really wants to represent the country, you should have done that years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like to
Yeah.
do that and within this 4 month range, it seems near to impossible. So, I mean, good
That
luck to you, and we'll see how it plays out.
Right. And I mean, we're at a point in America where it's life or death for people.
Yeah,
Like literally, it's life
absolutely.
or death. So we have no time to be playing games. You can
Hmm.
dream all you want, Kanye. But this isn't Kanye's world. And I think that he is a visionary, but we need to be practical at times like this to actually see
I,
real change.
I agree with you, Mel.